Hey there, Islander. This is Miss Griggs. In this video, I'm going to be going over the lab section of the choice board activities. All right, so as part of your choice board activities for this course, you have to select two labs to complete, or sorry, not two labs. You select one of these two labs, and I'm going to briefly go over these two labs in this video. So the first one is the material identification lab. Okay, so the two lab options that you have are the material identification lab here or the building a molecule FET lab. So the material identification lab looks like this here. And basically what you're going to be doing for this lab is you're going to get a set of 15 rods that look like this. They'll be numbered 1 through 15. And you will be finding the density of each rod in two ways. And then calculating the density based off of those two ways. And then identifying the substances based off of their known densities. So for this lab, you have a few pre-lab questions where you talk about water displacement and then direct measurements. Basically with direct measurements, you're going to be using the formula for the volume of a cylinder and taking some measurements of the rods for that one, and then also the water displacement method, which you're familiar with from your determining density lab at the beginning of the school year. Okay, so you're also going to be writing down some formulas and then making a prediction about which way of calculating the volume is more accurate. And then for this lab, you will write your own procedure. Okay, you can mimic the procedure from your determining density lab, but you are also going to have to include a portion about doing the direct measurements, not just the water displacement method. So you will have to write your own procedure, and prior to you collecting your data, I will have to approve your procedure. You can write it out on paper or you can type it up. And then you will have to have a calculation section. Once you're done collecting your data, I just put the calculations right here because I didn't have room on the next page. All right, once you've done your procedure, you're then also going to create your own data table using all of the information that's listed there. It will eventually look something similar to this right here, guys. Let me pull this up, see if I can make this bigger. So you'll end up making a data table that looks like this of your own, okay? And you can do it by hand or you can do it on a computer. So you'll include all of these categories on your data table, and again, you have to have your data table approved prior to collecting the data on the rods, okay? And then here's your known density of each of the different materials that the rods could be. Once you have collected all of the data on your rods, you will then calculate the density and identify the rod using these known densities. And then you have 4 post-lab questions to complete with that. Okay, and you'll turn that in as part of the lab. So that's one option for the lab portion of the choice board activity. The second option is, the material identification using density lab is the only one that you can do with a partner. However, each partner will have to turn in their own lab. Okay, but your procedure and your data tables can match, but they need to be in your own writing or in your okay. Okay, so the next lab option is the build a molecule FET. And okay, so this is the build a molecule FET. This is very similar to the build a molecule lab that we did in class, where you made the ball and stick models, but this time instead of doing it with physical models, you'll actually be doing it with a digital model. So for this one, you will start out by answering part 1, where you're drawing the Lewis dot structures or the electron dot structures for each of these elements here. And then you'll move on to part 2, where you will open the Build a Molecule FET online. And there's a couple of links in here for the molecule FET. But eventually, once you open it, you're going to be building each of these different molecules, and there's 25, and you get to choose 23 out of the 25 molecules to build, so you can skip 2. All right, you're going to do a 3D model drawing, a ball and stick model drawing, and then you will show me your number of electrons and pairs of electrons along with the Lewis dot structure. Okay, so let me pull up that FET real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so on this Build a Molecule FET, you'll go into Google or go to FET.com and type in Build a Molecule FET, or click the link in the worksheet. And you're going to start out by doing the single mode right here. You always want to stay in single mode. All right, and then the way that this FET is built is that it has different collections, and each collection will have different types of molecules in it, and sometimes the molecules will get repeated. So don't be surprised if you see a molecule multiple times. Yes, you just have to keep building them until you get to all of the different molecules. And they are all in there. You just have to work through all of the collections. I think there's like 10 collections total. So you just kind of got to work through most of them. Anyway, so the way that this will work is you will start by looking at what the molecule is that they want you to build. So this one is H2O, which is water. So I'm going to put my 1 oxygen and my 2 hydrogen. Okay, and it will automatically show you what you have. So you have, if you click here, you have the 3D model that you will draw as part of that first column. Then you have the ball and stick model here. Okay. And you'll put that up in there like so. And then you'll move on to the next one. So we'll click here. So then we have O2, 1, 2, like so. There's my 3D model, my ball and stick, and my 3D model right there that I would draw in. And you just keep doing this until you have completed the worksheet. And you'll have to move on to the next collection, and so on and so forth. And when you're building these, the FET will actually put it in its actual shape. Okay, so like this one is linear. And then we would do like that, into, like so. Here's my N2 molecule right there. I've finished this collection. I fill in my worksheet as I'm doing this, and I move on to the next one. And here's my next set of collections. And you can go back to your previous collections, but like I said, some of the collection molecules will get repeated. Like here's one that's already repeated is O2. I don't know why that FET does it, but it does. All right, so those are your 2 options for your lab. Okay, so you have this Build a Molecule FET, or you have the determining material identification using densities. So you will choose one of these 2 labs to complete. If you do choose the material identification using density lab, make sure you include who your partner is down here, okay? All right. If you have any questions about the lab portion of this project, please let me know.